This is Jamie LaRock from CAD Microsolutions. I am a mechatronics application specialist, and today we're going to be talking about live supplier links and bill of materials setups within Altium Designer. Having instant access to your components' properties, datasheet, unit pricing, and quantities can be extremely beneficial when you're preparing your project's bill of materials. In this segment, we will show you how to add live supplier links and set up your bill of materials. So what is a supplier link? A supplier link is a live data link that contains properties associated to a supplier search. A supplier link is added to a component within the schematic design environment. The supplier link will contain properties associated with the component, and it will also include the manufacturer and supplier part number, supplier unit pricing, and a hyperlink to the component's datasheet and more. So how do we search for a supplier link within Altium Designer? If you would like to add a supplier link to a component, you can access the supplier search panel by opening up the System tab near the bottom right of the workspace. And you can go ahead and click the supplier search function. You will then be prompted with a panel that says supplier search. And here you can search by part number, but by default it searches by comment, description, or name. The default search parameters can be changed along with other settings within your preferences. So we can go ahead and if we search, let's say, capacitor. This may be a common item for some of you, and we will see here that we received the manufacturer part number, the supplier, description, and unit price of the item that we would like. Within the supplier link, we see here that we have all the properties of the components, including the packaging, description, and so on and so forth, along with the live datasheet that we can open up as a PDF. So that is how we do the supplier search. So let's go ahead and add a supplier to both of our headers that we have here on our schematics. So you can access it by going to System, Supplier Search, or as well as you can right click on the component itself and you can access the supplier links function and it brings you to the supplier links panel. We can go ahead and we can add from here as well too. So let's go ahead and just search header 4. So you'll see here that we are provided with multiple suppliers, and these suppliers can be changed if we go into our preferences. If we go into DXP, Preferences, Data Management, and Suppliers, here we have access to change any settings that we would like within our supplier searches. So here we have access to whatever suppliers we would like to show, as well as the login information within the web browser itself. The suggested keywords are what you're going to use to search for your component supplier links. So by default here we have comment, description, name, and so on and so forth. As well as the parameter import options that we're going to have for the components. If you would like to remove some of these, simply just enable or disable them and it will change your search. So let's go ahead and add supplier links to our components. I'm just going to use a random part number because it'll make it much faster. This is going to be a capacitor from a Digi-Key component. So we see here, okay, we have the component that we'd like, but let's go ahead and select the one that has the unit pricing available. Some of them may not have it depending on the quantity, or sometimes on the supplier's website you will have to contact for unit pricing. So what we can do is we can right click and we can add the supplier link, or we can add the supplier link and parameters to part. If we add the parameters as well, this will include the parameters within the component and just give you a little bit more information about that, so I prefer to do it this way. You will then be prompted with your crosshair to place the supplier link on each component. Simply do a left click to add it to the component. Once we are done, we can exit the supplier search box and we can go ahead and take a look at our component. We can do a right click to view the supplier link attached to it. So we see that it's successfully added to the component, as well as if we double click on the component, we see all the parameters that have been imported along with the supplier part number and so on and so forth. So once you're done adding all of your supplier links to your components, you'll be able to manage these parameters in your bill of materials, which we will now discuss. If you head to the Report Generation tab, we can access our bill of materials. We will then be prompted with all of the components that are in our schematic. By default, it is grouped by common and footprint. These are the grouped columns are going to be very important when you would like to group your components by different parameters. For myself, I prefer to group them by supplier part number. So I will remove these from the group columns. You also have these multiple columns which you have all the parameters included in, and this here you can decide what you would like to include within your bill of materials. When you add at least one supplier link to your schematic, you'll be given this Solution 1 option within your column. If you expand that, you will then be provided with all information that came from that supplier link, including supplier parameters and manufacturer parameters. So as we see now, we simply have our P1 and our P2, which are individually separated within our bill of materials. But since they are the same part number, we would like to group them from the supplier part number. So we can go ahead and enable that, and we see it adds the supplier part number. We will then drag this to the grouped column section, and you will now see they are combined as they are the same part number and the quantity has updated. We also want to have the unit price showing as well too, because we'd like to see how much this bill of materials is going to cost us. So you can then group this as well. Enabling or disabling any of these parameters will allow you to show or hide any parameters within your bill of materials. You also have the option of selecting your currency, your production quantity, as well as export options, because you have several formats that you can export this bill of materials into, including an Excel spreadsheet, a XML spreadsheet, CSV, and so on. You also have the ability to add a template to your bill of materials, and these templates are included within Altium Designer, but you can also create your custom template if you desire. For this instance, we will not add a template. So we will see what our bill of materials looks like. It will then prompt you to save your bill of materials, and it will then export to Excel. So we see here we have the supplier unit price, we have the part number and the quantity, and everything seems to be alright. If you go ahead and click on that component, it will then open up the datasheet and the web browser that's associated with it as well too. So we can go ahead and minimize this for the time being. If we would like to add a template, we can hit the three dots, and if we head to our Altium folder, we will then be able to access any templates that have been included within Altium Designer. So we can go ahead and just select any one here. You will see a preview on the right hand side, sorry. And we can go ahead and we will point to this template, and that's what we will select, and we will then once again export. So we see here that of course there are some columns that are giving us errors. That's just because we have not included these parameters in this bill of materials. So if you'd like, you can open up this template on its own, and you can remove these columns knowing that you're not going to use them. If you will be using them, go ahead and just change the name associated with it, and then it will make proper association to any parameter you would like to add. So we see here, we see the designator, the description, quantity, supplier part number, and unit pricing. These are all values that we see that are correct and are desired. So we see here that we can use templates within our BOM. So that is how we successfully generate a BOM from the reports generator. Once again, it is very important that we group the parameters in the grouped columns. That way there it separates our bill of materials how we would like. When you update the production quantity, the unit pricing will then change in association with the supplier links that you've added to the components. You will see that if you make a production quantity of 100 or 200, you will see the price break within each unit price. Another way we can create a bill of materials is by accessing the active BOM. If we right-click on the project, add new to project, new bill of materials, you will then have another page open up that is known as the active BOM. The active BOM offers a live presentation of the design from the outset, providing early and ongoing cost estimation. It allows you to define target pricing at the individual item level as well as the board level. You can then track how costing fares against these estimates and give a timely flag if any cost blowouts are on the near horizon. In addition, you can quickly access item availability and complete with notification if there is a risk in supply of any chosen part. So when they speak about the risk of supply, we see here there is a supply risk and the price target is missing. So here if we have a quantity of 1,000, it'll tell us if there's not enough stock, as well as the target price, actual price, and here we see the actual price per board, and we can also set our target price per board if we know the price we would like our board to be. Also, if you click on the individual items, you will then see the supplier link, the pricing, the discount pricing, and the availability as well too. We can also head to the BOM Components tab, and this will give us the same style as we did through the reports generator for the other BOM. Once this sheet has been exported from Excel, you can then send this to your populator if you have someone populating your board to go ahead and order the parts, or you can simply import this into your supplier, which could be Digi-Key, Mouser, and then it will create your cart for you. I hope this video was helpful, and stay tuned for more informational videos from CAD Microsolutions. Thank you very much.